Hi everybody, Eugene here with Darkroom Software. In this quick video, we are going to be talking green screen basics. What this is for is somebody that's new to green screen or looking to get into green screen, or maybe even somebody that's been using it a little bit and looking for small tips and tricks to help make things work just a little bit smoother. So let's jump right in and start off with green screen basics. If we open Darkroom Booth, we'll see that Darkroom Booth comes with a few sample events and a few more sample templates for green screen. The thing to look out for is that it will either say green screen or it'll say GS. So if you're not looking to do green screen or you don't have a green screen background, you want to avoid templates that have a number and you can see through to the graphic. So if you were doing just a standard event, because it doesn't have green screen, you can see a gray box around it. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, but what we're looking for is something where we see a number and then a background where we see through the gray box. And that signifies that it's a green screen template. We'll go ahead and look through a couple more. So this is another good example. We see the number and a graphic background versus this one. We have a gray box with the number inside of a box, and that lets us know that this is not green screen. This one, these are green screen. So we'll learn how to create a template in just a second. This sample template is going to have 3 images, and it'll take and print out a strip. If you go to the screen, you'll have a matching screen and live view. So these are not connected to the image. If you create a screen template, it will not automatically update the print template. These are created separately, and we'll get into that in just a second, but I just want to go over some of the basics and things you might run into. This one right here is a screen template that allows you to change the background. So it looks like you would just take a picture and you're on the beach, but when you switch to the screen template, you can actually see you can choose from multiple backgrounds. And we'll build one of those in just a second. So first thing that we want to do is we're going to create a template from scratch. And we're going to start off with the output template. And this is just going to be a standard 4x6 template. Create new and 4x6 demo GS for green screen and horizontal. Okay, and select 4x6, make sure it's set to horizontal, click OK. Next thing we're going to have that goes behind the image that we're going to capture is going to be a background graphic. So we'll add artwork and then we'll browse to, let's say, a desktop folder. Okay. And we'll choose this background. 4th of July is coming up and I think it's appropriate. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the photo object. If we click add photo, if you do just that, it will hide the green or the graphic behind the photo. This image should be set to chroma key, green screen, blue screen, and we'll also talk about Remove.bg in just a second. But I'm going to set chroma key, and in its simplest form, that is a green screen template. We'll go ahead and save as, and there we go. We're ready for our 4th of July party. That's a little basic. Let's see if we can punch that up just a little bit. Let's add a graphic on top of that. One great thing you can do to bring your photos more together is to have background and foreground objects, and then the images sandwiched in between. So let's see if we can find a graphic that might suit our purposes. Let's go back to this demo folder. Oh yeah, a bald eagle. So I think that's epic for our 4th of July party. We'll go ahead and save that. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a screen template to go along with this. And I'm going to show you a little trick about using a graphic that you might interact with. We're going to go ahead and click choose, or let's cancel. We're going to duplicate this event and let's rename it. Okay, so we have our duplicate. We're not editing or changing the original event. We're going to click choose, and we're probably going to get a pop-up message saying the numbers don't match. Would we like to update? Yes. So we're matching the output. It's a 4x6. The number of photos is going to be based on the image, and we can continue on to our screen. So we're going to click choose, and we're going to build one from scratch. 4x6 demo GS template, or screen. Just in case for some reason you copied over to a different computer, it's good to know that this is a screen template rather than an output template. Even though I put the 4x6, it's letting me know that the actual image box is a 4x6. So for this, we're just going to add a simple background. We won't do the flag because we don't want to interfere with our graphic that we'll be interacting with. So I'll just go to my media library, and that will work for now. Okay, so next thing we're going to want to do is add our graphic background that's going to go behind our live view. So it's on my desktop in a demo folder, and this is one of those tricks I was going to tell you. Right here we have a flag that's flying one way, and then we have the exact opposite for both graphics. So that way when we mirror our live view, the graphics that are on the screen are mirrored as well, so they'll flip. Otherwise, if I move to one side to be on one side of the eagle, whenever I flip, I might be behind the eagle. So we'll use what appears to us as a backwards flag, and I'm going to do that. And just a little information, because I was a military kid, if you ever see somebody with a flag that appears to be flying the wrong way, it's usually on their right shoulder. The reason for that is that America does not retreat. That's why the flag's always seems like it's facing the wrong way. It's not an upside down flag or anything. It's more of a military thing. Click add photo, or we can actually, this is something to talk about too. We can also, instead of a live view, we can use add photo, and it will work as a live view if no live view is present. So this is just kind of an extra thing. If you have a single image, you can add it as photo 1, and it'll work as your live view. So now we've kind of come across an issue that this photo is based on the aspect ratio of this screen template. If I hold down control, and we look right over here on the right side, if I hold down control, you can see this is checked, and this is checked and selected. So I'm going to say make same position and size, and now they're stacked right on top of each other. And that's a good way to make sure that those two objects are exactly right on top of each other. So we're not going to get into building screen templates too much. Really, this is all we need. We can set it to tap to start. We could add a start button if we wanted to, but we'll go ahead and leave that as is. We need to add one more thing. Our little eagle friend. In this situation, the text will be backwards because the image is flipped. So, and we'll do the same thing. And so that should be matched up as a 4:6 image. And at this point, you would go through and add your buttons, but we'll save as, and let me see. I'll just save it to my screens. And we've talked about this before, but you have inside the screen templates, you can now save subgroups. So I have right here in my screens, those are the ones I currently have saved. I'm gonna choose that one, and then we'll just make sure our controls are set up the way we want. Left button, so if I touch the screen, it would start the session. I'm gonna go ahead and uncheck hide mouse so we can see what I'm doing. And that should do it. Let's show a preview after it ends, so you can see what the image would look like once it's flipped. So we'll start it up. Really, we could have put in some text and had the live view set to show before the session. But hopefully it kicks on and helps. And I don't have the I'm using the webcam there, and that's why that knockout is not so good, because a webcam doesn't have a real good option for white balance. You can see my face is a lot pinker than it should be. But other option we have here is Remove.bg. I said we'd talk about it in just a moment. And make sure I have added. So I have added my Remove.bg account. It's a third-party service. If you want to learn more about that, go to darkroomsupport.com and do a search for Remove.bg. We're going to click on this option right here, enable it, and what this is going to do now, instead of using green screen, it's going to use AI, and it will probably do a better job in this situation because of the odd lighting that I have. So, but where you can use this is whenever you don't have any green background. So let's set that live view to always show, and we'll start it back up. Okay, so we can kind of still see a little bit of that haziness, but that's not too important. So it's going to go through, it's going to capture the image, but instead of using green screen, it's going to use Remove.bg. And we'll give it a second to process and see if that handles that just a little bit better, which it did. So one more thing I'm going to show you with this, we have this review option. And this is less about green screen, but it's helpful when you're using green screen. I am going to go to my text tab and enable booth edit and go through one more session, and you can see what options or how powerful the review is. So once again, you don't have to have a green screen background when using Remove.bg. It didn't do such a hot job of timing that, but now I can go in and edit the photo just a little bit. I probably should have had my hands up to make it look like I was grabbing his beak or something, but we'll go ahead, and now the image is edited, and I click accept, and it would send it to my printer. So before we go, we're going to get into graphic lists, and this would be a more advanced option, but I just wanted to cover it real quick. We are going to create a new template from scratch with a graphic list. So that's more similar to what you would see here, where you can change the backgrounds. So I'm going to switch back to my 4th of July party, and let's say I wanted to do a Olympic theme party because the Olympics are right around the corner. Create a new event. So I am going to we'll create it from scratch. USA 2024. And I'm gonna browse, and let's see. Actually, first thing what we'll do is we'll switch to graphic list and then click edit, and I am going to copy that text because that is very, very important that I use the exact same text when I build my screen template. So I click my graphics, browse, and let's see. The Olympics is going to be held in Paris, France, I believe. So we got some cool pictures from Paris. I know a lot of you are cringing right now. That's a joke. If you're not, we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, here's our photo 1. Okay, and then we'll leave it like that. Now what we're gonna do is save that and switch back over to our screen template. We're going to build a screen template with commands built into it to change those. Okay, so screens, we'll edit this one because it has everything we need. We don't need that graphic. Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. This we can use. We're going to switch to a graphic list and then edit it. Remove my flag, and we're going to paste because this text has to match that exactly. So copy and paste is your best friend here. If there's extra space or capitalization was different, you might run into issues. So, and now we're going to go to select our 2 pictures of the same Eiffel Tower. Still joking. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a button to move, to change the background. So we can add this and set that to be a button. So we'll set the booth command, and it's going to be choose graphic, index 1, and start the session after selecting, and then this is now our button, or we can duplicate that and then select this graphic, and then we just want to update the index number to 2. Okay, so now when we have the screen template, we're gonna, when they click this button, it'll change the graphic to a different graphic, and then you can also add, if you didn't want that to automatically start, you can add a start button, or You can add arrows rather than graphic image buttons. You can kind of do whatever you want there, but at least we have a kind of idea how we can get this to change. And then that, what we set in the screen template, is then going to carry on to the print template. And they are separate, they have to be built separate, and what links them is that graphic list name right here. That's what links the two. So we're going to click Save As and rename this to Team USA. And the ongoing joke in the background is that this is actually this is in Paris and this is in Las Vegas. I know the difference, and maybe in future videos I will continue this theme as we go through the Olympics. Just friendly competition between countries. Okay, so now when we click on this button, it should change to the correct background. And once again, if you're using a DSLR, you can set your white balance and you'll get a much better result than what you're seeing right here. Whoops. Yeah, we want to cancel that because there's one thing that we forgot to update, and that would be the output template. We created it, but we did not choose it. So where are you at? Okay, let's start it and test it one more time. And it's always important when you're doing work like this that you test it thoroughly after you're done with your printer and your camera all hooked up, because nothing worse than having it set for one camera and then you run into issues like white balance. So that's where the lighting comes in really handy as well. Okay, you can see what they originally captured with green screen. Once again, if you use proper lighting and a DSLR camera that you can set the white balance, the background removal should be awesome. It would be better than this because my face would not look as pink because of the white balance and the auto white balancing the webcam from the green screen background. So that brings us to the end of our green screen basics with a little advanced options at the end. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. One more thing that I wanted to go over. I was using a webcam earlier and it is definitely not recommended. It's just simply a vanity because my DSLR is better for recording videos, so I switched to the webcam for booth. But I wanted to show you the difference when you use a DSLR where you can adjust the exposure settings and the white balance, just the difference you get. So we'll go ahead and start the booth and then we'll look at my camera settings and kind of talk about some of those options. So hit the space bar and then you can see already it looks much better. I don't have all the weirdness going on, and then the image is as crisp and as good as you can expect or want. I got a little bit, you can see a little bit of a mic right there, but we'll enlarge that, and there's me and my Eagle buddy. So that is the difference when you use a good camera or a DSLR. In this case it's a mirrorless camera, but a good camera when using green screen. The Remove.bg is a good option, and let's compare the two, Remove.bg versus a mirrorless doing I say a mirrorless, it's the same for a DSLR. So whenever you use auto white balance, it doesn't know what white is. So it takes the background, the whole background around you, kind of blends it into a color, then turns it to gray, and then applies that same change to the whole image. So I'm much pinker, much cooler than actuality in this image. On this one, I can go in and I adjusted the exposure, its manual settings, and then I also adjusted the white balance. and I was able to actually get a color tone that I want. That might actually not be completely accurate. There's still a little bit of warmth in it's a black shirt, so it should be more gray, but that is the tone that I wanted. And you can also see that I'm using an accent light that's blue. But if we go to our camera settings, I have my white balance on my light, which is a video light, so there was no flash, so it's going to be different if you're using a flash. But I have the white balance set to 5600K, and same for the live view. So there's no difference between the live view and the actual image because there's no flash. If you're using a flash, you probably can get away with a much lower ISO than I'm currently using, and you might want to choose for your white balance. You can choose flash, so that's a difference between using a webcam or built-in camera and a DSLR or a mirrorless camera. It's that control. I just wanted to share that with you before we go. So thanks so much for watching the extra. I'll see you next time.